Long ago, in the village of Mbewe, a young woman named Kina stood at the edge of marriage. Her beauty was celebrated, her wisdom admired, and her kindness unmatched. But despite these qualities, Kina had yet to find the one her heart could truly love. Her family, friends, and the village elders spoke of many suitors, but Kina's heart remained unmoved. She longed for more than just a marriage, she wanted to find her soul's true companion. One evening, her auntie, Mbewe, suggested they seek the advice of a prophet who lived in the hills beyond Mbewe. It was said that this prophet had visions of the future, and he could see into the hearts of men and women alike. Desperate for guidance, Kina agreed. Upon arriving at the prophet's humble home, they were welcomed with warmth. The prophet, an elderly man with deep, knowing eyes, sat Kina down and told her, "Your husband's name is Joe. In a few weeks, you will meet him and you will know." Kina was both relieved and anxious. The prophet had made it sound so simple, but her heart told her this journey would not be as easy as it seemed. True to the prophet's words, just a few weeks later, Kina crossed paths with 5 men who captured her attention. All 5 were handsome, intelligent, and kind-hearted, exactly the type of men she could imagine building a life with. However, the strangest part of all, they were all named Joe. There was Joe the farmer, who had strong, calloused hands and a heart as warm as the earth. His laugh was contagious, and his love for the land was unparalleled. He spoke of building a family farm, of cultivating the soil with the one he loved, and of children running through fields of grain. Then there was Joe the scholar, a man who spent his days in the village library, lost in books. His words were filled with wisdom, and his conversations were deep, probing the mysteries of life and love. He was gentle and quiet, his eyes always seeking knowledge, and Kina found herself drawn to his mind. Next was Joe the hunter, a rugged man with sharp instincts. He moved silently through the forest, always aware of his surroundings, his eyes keen and focused. He had a deep respect for nature, and his protective spirit made Kina feel safe. Joe the merchant, on the other hand, was full of charisma. He traveled far and wide, bringing goods from distant lands. His stories of adventure and his generous heart were alluring, as he promised Kina a life of travel and excitement. Lastly, there was Joe the healer, who had a soft touch and a compassionate soul. He dedicated his life to caring for others, tending to the sick and the wounded. His eyes held a deep kindness, and he spoke of healing not just the body, but the spirit as well. Kina felt a deep connection to each of them, but she was confused. How could she choose between 5 men who all seemed perfect in their own way? Confusion weighed heavily on Kina's heart. Each Joe had a unique charm, but none of them stood out as the one. Desperate for clarity, she decided to return to the prophet, only to discover that tragedy had struck. The prophet had passed away the day before. Kina was devastated. The one person who could have guided her was gone, and now she had to rely on herself to find the real Joe. But how could she? With each passing day, her bond with the 5 Joes grew stronger. Yet deep down, she knew only one of them was meant for her. With the prophet's words echoing in her mind, Kina made a decision: she would spend time with each Joe, learning who they were beneath the surface, and in doing so, she hoped to discover the true Joe, the one her heart had been waiting for all along. Kina decided to spend a week with each Joe, believing that time would help her distinguish her true love. Her journey began with Joe the farmer. He taught her the rhythms of the earth, how to plant seeds with care, and how the land rewarded patience and hard work. They laughed together under the sun, and Kina felt the joy of simplicity. Yet, despite the comfort of his world, Kina sensed something missing. While she admired his dedication, her heart remained unsure. The following week, Kina found herself in the world of Joe the scholar. Together, they read ancient texts and pondered the mysteries of the universe. Kina loved how their conversation stretched into the night, but sometimes, the distance between the abstract world of ideas and the tangible world of love felt too vast. Joe's mind was fascinating, but Kina wondered if it was enough to sustain a lifetime together. The 3rd week was spent with Joe the hunter, and Kina marveled at his strength and resilience. She admired how he moved through the wilderness with ease, guiding her through trails and sharing stories of his hunts. He was protective, and Kina felt safe, but there was something about his solitary life in the forest that left her questioning whether she truly belonged there. Kina's 4th week was full of excitement with Joe the merchant. She was captivated by his tales of adventure, the vibrant markets of far-off lands, and the treasures he brought home. He promised a life of excitement and riches, but Kina wondered if a life constantly on the move could provide the stability she craved. His charm was undeniable, but was it love or just infatuation? Finally, Kina spent her last week with Joe the healer. His gentle hands and kind eyes soothed not only the body but the soul. He taught her about the art of healing, and they spent hours in quiet companionship, tending to the sick. Kina felt peace with him, but she wasn't sure if that peace was love. After weeks of soul-searching, Kina realized that the answer didn't lie in comparing them to each other, but in listening to her own heart. Each Joe had brought something unique into her life, but only one made her feel completely seen and understood. It was Joe the farmer, with his quiet strength and deep connection to the earth. He wasn't the most exciting or the most intellectual, but he had a heart as steady as the seasons, and in his presence, Kina felt rooted. His love wasn't loud or showy, but it was enduring, like the land itself. Kina returned to him, and under the same sun where they had laughed together before, she confessed her feelings. Joe smiled warmly, took her hand, and said, "I've been waiting for you all along." They married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by the village, and together they built a life filled with love, laughter, and the quiet joy of knowing they had found their true partner. And so, Kina discovered that while the journey was long and filled with uncertainty, true love was worth the wait. She and Joe the farmer lived happily ever after, their love growing as steady and strong as the fields they tended. The end.